Don't worry, that's the last slide you'll see. Let's do some straight database talk, no slides. Exadata question. Can I still promote indexes to the Exadata database, or do I need to drop them? Will Exadata ignore indexes? And this is, I must concede, probably a misinterpretation that is somewhat of Oracle's making, because when Exadata came out, one of the things that we were very keen from a, let's call it a marketing perspective, is we were very keen to say how incredibly impressive the storage infrastructure was and the amount of smarts that go into the storage algorithms. We have things like storage indexes, smart scan, hybrid columnar compression, online compression, all sorts of goodies sitting there, zone maps in the Exadata storage infrastructure, which make the ability to churn through large amounts of data incredibly efficient and fast. This is not to say that that means you don't need any more indexes. And I fully concede that one of the things that we would be sort of often saying is, you can do away with indexes in a sort of a hand-waving sort of broad gesture. And that's perhaps a little bit too much on the marketing hype and less on reality. Probably the easiest way of proving why indexes are still relevant on Exadata is on our cloud, the automatic indexing feature runs exclusively on Exadata machines. And obviously we wouldn't have a facility that does automatic indexing of tables if indexes were not needed at all on Exadata. The reason we often need less indexes on an Exadata machine is the speed of being able to do a full table scan is dramatically faster on Exadata. And ultimately what happens is we end up with a costing decision. In all databases, in fact, one of my podcast episodes, I said every index is a bug on your database because the only reason we ever had indexes is because of the limitations of hardware. If every full table scan took a millisecond and every constraint check took a millisecond, you would never have indexes. Indexes simply solve a issue with hardware in the sense that you can't scan an infinite number of rows in a 0 point in time. In that sense, the only reason we ever add indexes is to solve you could call it a issue with the database in terms of its performance. Why would we have a primary key index? To stop uniques, because it's too slow to check for uniqueness and therefore lock a whole table to scan the whole table. Why do we have indexes for foreign keys? Because it's too slow to scan a table in case you want to delete a parent row. Why do we have indexes just for performance? Because searching for a subset of rows can't be done in 0 time. So every index is simply a workaround to the limitations of the physics of servers. All Exadata does is change that balance. It means that the benefit you obtain from an index has to be that much better because the cost of doing a full table scan is that much lower. You can scan so many more rows before you move into that area where an index would actually be beneficial. So hopefully that clarifies that. Anyone that says an Exadata machine does not need any indexes is dreaming. There may be some Exadata machines out there that don't have indexes. You might have some large-scale data warehouses where I've seen data warehouses even not on Exadata, which have very few indexes or no indexes because all the constraints are validated with queries and they're set to disabled rely, which means you've told the data that the constraints are valid, but you haven't actually implemented them with underlying indexes, etc. It's generally a risky thing to do. I'm a big fan of still having genuine constraints on a data warehouse, but generally what you'll see on warehouses and even more so on Exadata is dramatically less indexes, but there are always probably going to be some.